Hello Zero Wasters and welcome back to today's video. A few weeks ago I asked you guys on Instagram to tell me which shampoo bar you're using so that I could take a look at the ingredients and then let you know what I think about those ingredients. Why did I choose to do this? Well, first of all, I get a lot of DMs from you guys asking me, oh, is this shampoo bar good? Second, I think it's so important as consumers to really start to understand how to read labels. If we learn how to read labels as best as we can, we really have the power to understand if something is really good for us, and we're not just following what a brand tells us with their marketing, basically. I know that it may be difficult if you don't formulate your own shampoo bars and are not familiar with some ingredients that we find in cosmetic products. Sometimes they have very long names, they look really scary. It's just really difficult, and even if we go out on Google and look up for an ingredient, then sometimes it's just difficult to understand if that is good for us or not. So in today's videos I thought to simplify everything a little bit and to give you some pointers on how to read a label. The pointers that I will share today on how to read a label are based on EU regulations, so I cannot comment if something is different in the country where you live. However, EU regulations are among the strictest in the world. And also the ones that I abide to, because I have manufactured products myself and sold them, and I've gone through safety assessment, so I know these regulations. However, of course, if you're thinking about getting into more details or even selling your products, then you should stick to the regulations in your own country. Before we move on and we get into the actual video, I want to remind you that I will be hosting 2 free online workshops in July 2020. It's going to be one shampoo bars making workshop and a soap bars making workshop. These workshops are completely free online. You can attend from anywhere you are in the world, but these are the last weeks to register, so make sure you check the links in the description down below. If you're watching this video on a later moment, then you will likely find the links to register for any of my upcoming workshops. Okay, so how do we read a label? First point is that each ingredient is always wrote on a label from largest to smallest, so that's in descending order. The second important thing when it comes down to labeling ingredients is that they should be written following the INCI name. So the INCI name is the International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. Every ingredient has a Latin word for it. So for example, sweet orange essential oils, INCI name, so the Latin name is Citrus sinensis peel oil. So that's the way to describe the ingredients in a label, so that technically no matter which language you speak, then everybody should be able to understand the ingredients on a label. The third important thing that should always be on a label are any allergens. So that's in particular for essential oils or particular fragrances. If there are any allergens, they should be noted on the label. Let's have a look at the first shampoo bar, shall we? I'm gonna pop the ingredients right here. In this recipe we see that we have a mix of detergents, so we have the sodium cocolyl-isethionate, we have decyl glucoside, we have sodium cocoa sulfate. These are all there to give foam and bubbles and just cleansing effect to the shampoo bar, but the mix of different kinds of surfactants of detergent will make the shampoo bar a little bit milder, so that's really good. Then other thing that we see in this structure are things like creamed coconut butter. Then we have things like stearic acid, cocoa butter, bihydramonium methosulfate, cetyl and stearyl alcohol. So all of these are ingredients that are there to protect the scalp from any irritation potential that the shampoo bar might have. So when we're looking at a shampoo bar recipe, we always should be expecting a mix of cleansing ingredients, but also protecting ingredients that actually will protect our scalp. Because if we only used very cleansing ingredients, then these might potentially dry our scalp out, because remember, This is a shampoo bar that has basically no water in it. It's not diluted at all, so we must have something to counteract the drying effect. Then we have also other ingredients such as lactic acid. This is quite important because there are some ingredients in this formula like decyl glucoside, sodium cocoa sulfate that naturally have a high pH. So our hair is acidic, so likes acidic things, and therefore we want our shampoo bar to be balanced and if possible more acidic. And I think it's quite good that here we find a pH regulator like lactic acid, which is going to bring down the pH of the bar to make it more balanced. Then we have another thing, natural fragrance. So the word fragrance is very broad, and if you write fragrance or perfume, that means that it's like a blend of perfumes, and you actually don't have to disclose this in the label. And I think that's done mostly because you want to protect some, confidential information about like your secret formula, and so I think that's what they've done here. They wrote natural fragrance, so that's something that we see a lot in different products. I guess it's something that you can decide whether you like or not. If you want more transparency, then definitely this is not going to be very transparent, but it's up to you. It doesn't mean that it's bad or anything. Another thing that they did, which is good, is they did include obviously any allergens, so that's thumbs up for that. The last thing that I want to mention is that I do not see any preservative here. Now, a shampoo bar is something that is going to get in contact with water constantly, so even if there's no water inside the recipe, it's always best to include a preservative. So imagine your shampoo bar sitting in your shower, constantly getting, for every shower is gonna get wet, and then potentially some of that water will take some time to evaporate out of the bar. And then especially if you have a bathroom with no windows and there's a humidity, that's a very good environment for bacteria to grow. It's not my call to say if this shampoo is safe or not. There are a lot of different opinions about whether preservatives should be in products or not. My honest opinion is that they should. However, as you can see, this shampoo bar doesn't. So my final vote for this one, because I did like the way the formula is structured, but it's missing the preservative, for me it's a meh. Next up, let's have a look at this formula. This is a shampoo bar that has quite a long ingredients list. So what do we think about labels with a long ingredients list? Let's have a look at them. Ingredient number 1, sodium cocoa sulfate. So again, that's our detergent, our cleaning ingredient. We see a list of oils and butters and fatty alcohols. So fatty alcohols are just, they have nothing to do with alcohols. They're basically ingredients that are very emollient and are there to build up the viscosity into a product, and they serve kind of like as if they were butters, but they're much lighter. So again, this is great that these are included there because they will make the shampoo bar milder and they will protect our scalp and our hair. Right after this, we already start seeing essential oils. Essential oils are really strictly regulated into products. They can range between the 0.5% up to like 3%. It's not permitted to go up above the 3% in rinse-off products. So this gives you a good idea that these ingredients right here are overall very small. It's just that they are part of a blend, but the overall percentage should be quite small. So it really doesn't mean anything to have a very long ingredients list. They did include allergens down below, and we have our preservatives. So that's awesome. I'll give this label a good thumbs up. Next up, let's explore a different kind of shampoo bar. So I've received a few in the same category. I'm just gonna show you a couple. I'll put the first one here and the other one here. In this case, we have here sodium cocoa 8, which is coconut oil, and here sodium rapeseed 8, which is rapeseed oil. So at the very first spot, we have oils. So this tells me that these two shampoo bars are formulated as a soap bar. Sodium cocoa 8 actually means saponified coconut oil. So in this way, the label is telling you that because the oil is saponified, they actually used sodium hydroxide to saponify them, because that's the only way you can make soap basically from scratch. We know that soap is alkaline by nature, so it has a high pH. Soap wouldn't exist without a high pH. That's the very nature of soap. So these two bars are made as in a soap, so we'll definitely have a pH that is more towards the 8, which is not really suitable for hair care. However, if you really want to use soap-based shampoo bars, that's fine. Everybody's free to do whatever. Just make sure that you follow with an acidic rinse. So either apple cider vinegar mixed with some water or citric acid mixed with some water. This is going to restore the natural pH of your hair. I'm not a fan of soap-based shampoo bars, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to give this a no. Let's have a look at the last shampoo bar. Actually gonna pop two different ingredients list for this brand. One right here and one right here. The number one ingredient in this recipe is sodium lauryl sulfate. SLS, there's nothing wrong with SLS, I just want to point that out. SLS is a surfactant, a detergent, it's there for cleaning. One thing though that you do need to know is that sodium lauryl sulfate, it is very, very cleansing. So if you have sensitive dry skin, it could be a problem for you. So I just want to show you that in both of these recipes, the sodium lauryl sulfate is at the number one. So again, largest to smallest, so probably will make up most of the recipe. Let's have a look at the number two ingredient. In the first one we have water, and in the second one we have iris moss gel, and then followed by perfume and nori seaweed. Clearly this is telling us that the number two ingredient and then what's below, they're not going to be in a very high percentage, because I mean, this is a solid shampoo. You definitely won't have a lot of water into a solid shampoo, because otherwise it won't be solid anymore. Just like in here, we see that number two and the following ingredients are basically, you know, like seaweed and perfume. So all of these ingredients are not normally included at a very high amount into a solid shampoo bar. They're there to protect the scalp, enrich the shampoo bar of, you know, different properties, but they're not going to be making up the most of the recipe. Potentially these two shampoo bars could be just a tad too harsh to use on the scalp. In case of these two, for me, they are a no. Okay guys, I think that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was probably a little bit different than the normal videos you see on the channel. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that interested you. Then I was thinking to do another one just for conditioner bars, but I'd love to hear from you what you think about this. Is this kind of something you enjoyed? Did you find this just confusing and too complicated? Let me know down below and I'll just take on your feedback for the next videos.